Welcome back to Definitely Not Definitive. I'm Ken.
Are you?
No, I'm Pikachu.
I'm Squirtle.
Pika?
Pika?
So, yeah. Bethany won the death battle bet, so
Yes,
she
I
got to
did.
pick our New Year's Eve and New Year's Day outfits.
Not bad at all.
Oh,
Fuck me, I won.
you did!
He loves it, as you can tell.
I do. Well, I like to say, this year is great because you pick something that embarrasses me, makes me feel silly, but at the same time, like, it's comfortable and it doesn't have like a wig and makeup. Last year, oh my gosh, it had to be vaggy. Yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot to do. It was makeup and wig and skirts and stuff. So yeah, this is much better. I feel stupid, but I'm comfy.
You don't look stupid, but
Thanks.
you look adorable.
So anyways, let's get into what this video is about. These are our top 25 games, all right, of all time. This is gonna be a tradition that we do. We're starting this year. We're gonna do it every year. So next year it'll be the top 26 games. And it's kind of just to see how many games we played this year that cracked our top 25. All right, so these are games that we played, not just this year though, not just on the channel. These are all-time games, all right? On our other channel, on our other Definitely Not Definitive channel, tomorrow, we're gonna do our top 25 TV shows that we've watched on the channel though. So that one's just, it's gonna be a combined list.
Yes.
This one is just a individual list since it's like, our top 25 games of all time. So, we haven't played on the channel either. So, the way this works is I'm gonna go through a couple of mine, tell you why I liked them, and then Bethany will do the same. And then, we'll eventually get to our top. We'll see how many games we played this year that entered our top 25.
It's a little warm. So now that I have done the reveal of the costume, I hope you'll forgive me for
very warm.
putting the hood down.
And I hope you'll forgive me for giving a little bit more.
Ooh la la.
It's hot.
And most importantly, everyone, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
We are doing a cheers
Yeah.
because this is the end of 2025. If it was a good year for you, that's wonderful. If it was a sucky year,
It's over.
it's over. So here's to a new year starting tomorrow. Oliver, you cannot drink. No, Oliver, you cannot drink my champagne. This is not for you.
Ready?
Okay, I am ready.
Okay, I'll go first. So
We're gonna start from 25 and go to 1.
coming in at number 25 is Devil May Cry 5. So some of these games and some of these series we're gonna like lump together. It just kind of depends, there's nothing real, like no necessarily rhyme or reason to it. I mean, we'll try to give a rhyme or reason, but Devil May Cry 5, we played on the channel and just really enjoyed it. I mean, I love Dante so much as a character and like really like the journey that we've gone on. So to get to actually play the game was a ton of fun. I think maybe playing it as a live stream might have not taken away from it, like, because it was fun interacting with the chat and everything like that, but you don't necessarily get as involved in the story sometimes because you're like talking in the chat and like we get distracted and we're having fun and everything. So it's a good time, but maybe this game would have ranked higher if like, we'd played it like as a let's play, which we're starting to do more of with the more narrative driven games. But like the Michael Jackson, like the MJ hat and everything, and just the different moves, and also just like how much Bethany was crushing on V as well. I thought that was fun. So number 24 for me is actually an arcade game. It is X-Men, the arcade game. It's just something, it's a game that Colossus's whole like, roar, if you've ever played it, you'll understand what I'm talking about. Pumped so many quarters into that game. It's one that, it's just, you can have a bunch of different people playing at the same time. So it's just something that like, I don't know, just nostalgia-wise holds a place in my heart. And yeah, so that's why that one comes in at number 24. Number 23 is Assassin's Creed 2. I did pick a specific Assassin's Creed game. We have played a couple of Assassin's Creed games on the channel. So if I probably do this as a franchise, it might rank a little bit higher. So Ezio is amazing, obviously. And this one also has a little bit of like history with us, because at the time that like before we had started this channel or anything like that, Bethany was watching the Borgias, and like she knows I'm not really into history that much, and like my knowledge of history is very, very limited because of that, because I just didn't pay attention in class. So like when she was watching the Borgias and like I actually like knew some of the characters and I was like talking about it, she's like, how do you know this? I was like, because of my video game. She's like, what? I want to play. So Assassin's Creed 2, yeah, again, it holds a special place.
Yeah.
Number 22 is Tomb Raider. the first game. Played a couple of other games. We got an Xbox actually because Bethany loves Tomb Raider so much, and it came with Tomb Raider games. So that's why we got an Xbox One, I believe that was, when we did that instead of a PlayStation 4 at the time. But I just remember sitting in my basement, playing Tomb Raider, sit in my parents' basement, playing Tomb Raider, and listening to Tom Petty. Tom Petty's greatest hits, and just digging it, and just like digging the vibe of it all. And so that one just has like a very specific memory of it. So that's why that makes it where it does. 21, we finally get to a game that we have played on the channel. Well, no, Devil May Cry 5 we played on the channel, but we played on the channel, we played this year, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. This game was just like playing through an Indiana Jones movie, and it was so much fun. We're looking forward to playing the DLC for this as well.
Hell yeah.
And I liked it that, you know, a lot of times like when we were playing just through it, and especially in Rome or the Vatican, when we were playing it, and like some of the side missions didn't even feel like side missions. It just felt like, you know, very essential like to the story as well. So I always I dig that in a game, and you can't really necessarily even tell if it's a side story because it just flows so seamlessly. So really enjoyed that. And to round out my 20, top 20, I guess, Astrobot. Another game we played this year, at the beginning of this year. So like both Indiana Jones and Astrobot we played at the beginning of this year. And I'm not big into platform games. I'm just not. And this game blew me away. We played it because we heard, you know, it won Game of the Year. Really surprised at it. And obviously like the nostalgia fun of like finding the different PlayStation characters in it. This game just could have been such like a throwaway and just like a game that is, you know, I don't know, just like pumping up PlayStation characters, right? And they could have like put no effort into it, but the mechanics of it were so fun, and it's like so accessible to play. It was such an accessible game that it just really stood out to me, and it's a game that I will definitely be replaying, and just like to sit down and just like, you know, have fun with it. Not even really like, just pick it up at any time and play it whenever. So I was really impressed with Astrobot. Okay, so now it's time for Bethany's 20 through 25, starting at number 25.
Well, starting at 25, it's funny because you talked about an arcade game, and my 25 is actually an arcade game from my childhood.
Nice.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Hell yeah.
They did an arcade game of this. They also had a video game for the original Nintendo. I played both, loved both. I was majorly into Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles as a kid. So that game just has so much nostalgia. And when we went out and got a Nintendo Switch, we actually got a like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle package or something that came with 4 games. One of which is the arcade game that we played a couple 4th of Julys ago when we were taking our trip to get away from the fireworks. And that was just, it's a nostalgia pick, but that's one that if I played it as a child and I still want to go back and play it now as an adult, you're probably on this list.
Yeah.
Number 24, another nostalgia pick, but also a genuinely great game. And this is one that I first got introduced to through Ken, Marvel Ultimate Alliance.
Yeah.
We played Marvel Ultimate Alliance 1 and 2 back when we still lived in Chicago, and just fell in love with the game. It was one of the first couch co-ops that we really played.
Yeah.
And it was so much fun. Like I remember getting done with work and being so excited to come home so that we could like eat real quick and then hop on the couch and do Marvel Ultimate Alliance.
How can I not marry her?
So that has to be on this list. Number 23 is a game that we have actually played this year on the channel.
Okay.
The Wolf Among Us.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah. I loved pairing obviously I'm a huge fairy tale person, so like that right away kind of hooks me. But I love how they paired that with this sort of like grittiness and like a gritty backdrop. And I really enjoyed playing the story through the big bad wolf and kind of doing some detective work. That always tends to hook me, as well as like really good story, really great characters, solving a mystery. I mean, that has all the ingredients, so Wolf Among Us. Number 22. This game was so much fun for me, and it is one that I feel like I will go back and replay, if for no other reason than like just stress relief, and that is Space Marines 2.
Yeah.
That game was so wild and so chaotic, but in the best way. And I could just pop that in and start shooting aliens and be very happy.
Death to Tyranids.
Yeah, exactly. So that's my number 22.
Another game we played on the channel.
Yes. And my 21 is also a game that we played on the channel, though not this year. Until Dawn.
Yeah.
That game was so much fun, and we did the quarry, and then we did Until Dawn. I enjoyed the quarry, but Until Dawn kind of superseded it. So
by far.
Until I'm like giving the quarry a special mention because it's not actually on my list, but Until Dawn is, and that's one that I could see myself going back to play just for the vibes, just for the spookiness.
Yep.
And then you went through 20, right?
I went to 20, yeah.
Okay, well, on the spooky topic, Alien Isolation is my number 20.
Ooh, okay.
And
Just because of the pain that it gave me.
that is a part of it. I'm not gonna lie. I think we've had some of our best on-camera jump scares from that game.
By far. Yeah, that's true.
And I was also like legitimately terrified starting that game. I was like, where's the alien? I know it's here. It's gonna pop out and say, like, I couldn't get comfortable initially with the whole alien.
The alien never chased her once. Like, she would be there, like, the alien would, like, look at her, like look directly at her and just walk by. I would be hidden, like, you know, as well as I could be, and the alien would just, like, beeline straight for me.
That's true. We're like,
Every
don't
single
breathe. If you breathe, the remote's gonna know and the alien's gonna get you. So I felt like that totally captured the feel of the movie, which I love. I love a good scary game. Like, I'm finding I get more of a thrill nowadays from playing scary video games than I do from scary movies. The movies tend to be predictable a lot of the times now and formulaic, which makes them less scary. Whereas a video game, especially something like Alien Isolation, you have no freaking clue when that alien's gonna come at you.
This is true.
So all of that was definitely a reason why Alien Isolation had to be on this list.
Okay. All right, so now we're going 19 to 11. All right. So number 19 for me is South Park: The Fractured But Whole. Both South Park games I really enjoyed a lot, and just like, again, it was like, you know, playing through a South Park episode, right, or a South Park movie, and it's a series it's a franchise that I really enjoy. The humor in it was what you would expect from a South Park game, and the game mechanics were fun as well. I did like the Stick of Truth better. You'll see how much better as the list goes on. This is one you probably could, like, if you wanted to combine them, but like I feel like they're separate enough, like that I separated them. So number 18 for me is The Wolf Among Us.
Ooh.
So that climbed a little bit higher for me. I really love choice-based games. They're just a ton of fun. The replayability on it is great. But also it's like, it's nice for the channel because like they also don't take up like a ton of time. You know, I'd like a game that does take up a ton of time as well. Like, you know, I'd like those epic games. Those are a ton of fun. But like to be able to, I don't know, just like have you wanting so much more, like in it with The Wolf Among Us. I'm just like, oh man, this could have been like 40 hours of gameplay. This was so amazing. The fairy tale aspect of it, like you said, the grittiness of it all, it just really like surprised me. Like we played that because the suggestion was that for Bethany to really like the game, but I ended up loving it as well. So I think that was just, yeah, it was really well done. And it's like, especially the cliffhangers that they give you after episode 1.
Yeah.
Whoa! Now, yeah, things change, but you just check it out.
I mean, and that was our first introduction to a Telltale game too.
Yeah, it's true.
Which
We're gonna be playing more.
I know that we've had a bunch recommended to us, and thank you so much for that. I think our community was so wise in choosing that as a place to jump into Telltale games, because it very successfully hooked us both and kept us both wanting more.
Yeah.
And while I would really love for them to make a sequel to The Wolf Among Us, that's been promised for something like 10 years, they successfully hooked me enough that like I am going to transfer that enjoyment to other Telltale games, I'm sure. And so we can check more of those out in the coming year.
Agreed. Number 17, Mario Kart 64.
Aww.
I played the shit out of this game growing up. I mean, damn. So many hours spent. And I also played the Super Nintendo Mario Kart, but just like the jump from the Super Nintendo version to Mario Kart 64 was so massive and so unbelievable, and like just like the secret, routes you can take and whatnot. Like I remember going to I was visiting my brother in college, and like, I was thinking like they're playing Mario Kart. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm gonna show them what's up. They like kicked my ass because like they knew all the secret tricks and I didn't. I'm like, what is this? And so I brought it back to my friends and I showed them, and they're like, whoa, what the hell's going on? So yeah, Mario Kart 64. Love that game. And we played the not the latest Mario Kart, but the Mario Kart on Switch that came out with that one, not the late one that's come out with Switch too. and really enjoyed that. But just the Mario Kart 64 just has a special place.
Yeah, I approve.
Number 16, The Last of Us, 1 and 2. I'm combining these two because I really feel like you kind of have to combine the two. There's a lot of controversy about about this game, especially the second one, and like, yeah. And so, but the story itself, really hooked us, got us, talking a lot after each playthrough about, the morality of it all, and who's right, who's wrong, and really like, to have that level of discussion with the video game is special, and really cared about the characters. And while the vitriol over what happened in Last of Us 2 was like very unfortunate and whatnot, it just also show you like just how beloved those characters were, that people like just got like that intense and that attached. Yeah, you gotta take the good with the bad sometimes. But yeah, it's probably what I ranked higher, but like also some of the craziness with Last of Us 2 maybe brought down a little bit more. But yeah, I still really enjoyed the game. Number 15 is Resident Evil 1. Specifically Resident Evil 1. Like Resident Evil franchise, I probably, again, if I bunched it together, probably could rank a little bit higher. But Resident Evil 1, playing this game with my friends, we would say, it's time to res it up, have my Dr. Pepper going as well. And just like, I'd never been scared before playing a video game until Resident Evil. And just like, turn off all the lights and going through it, and like the jump scares and everything. Like it was the first like scary game for me. And it was very successful, and like just love playing the franchise. Can't wait for Resident Evil 9. Looking forward to that. And so Resident Evil 1. 14 is another big franchise, but I'm picking a specific game, Mortal Kombat 2.
Ooh.
So with Mortal Kombat 2, kind of like with Mario Kart 64, the jump from 1 to 2 was so massive. And like the friendships, the abilities that they added, the amount of characters that they added. And this is specifically for the arcade game. Like I remember my buddy Charlie, he was really good at the game. And so there would just be like lines of people, and if you won, you got to stay, right? And like now you had to go back to the end of the line. And he would just be like running that game. And like at the time, you had to, it was word of mouth, right? What the fatalities were, like you had to like try to figure it out yourself, the different things that were going on. And so I remember it blew my mind when the game came out, and still, if I ever get a big enough space where I can have a man cave, I'm getting the stand-up arcade for Mortal Kombat 2. That is a dream of mine. 13 is Uncharted 4. Once again, I could have put all of them together, but I specifically thought Uncharted 4 was the major standout for me. A game is great when you haven't played it before and you're watching someone else play it and you are just like totally okay with that. Like, I mean, like when Bethany was playing, I just like was so immersed in the story and what was going on, and just like loved watching her like geek out over it as well. But then like, playing through it was a ton of fun, and just, it's like playing through an action movie. And the culmination of sort of like, I guess, Uncharted 1, 2, and 3 and all the characters and everything in Uncharted 4, they really nailed. So Uncharted 4, I thought was just a great video game. Number 12 is God of War 4 and Ragnarok. So I put these two together because these two stories are like tied. Like, Ragnarok is just a sequel to God of War 4. I thought they did a successful job rebooting this franchise, like a soft reboot or whatever. Just like change, like, because Kratos' character changed a little bit. The voice actor changed. Sort of his like rage was simmered down just a little bit. But still, it was really effective, right? His relationship with Boy, and and just like going through like a different pantheon as well. So both games had a lot of great action, a lot of great heart in it, and I thought they did a great job with both of them. Coming in at number 11 is Detroit Become Human. Another choice-based game, another game that I just thought had us having a lot of great conversations afterwards. Game that I really look forward to. Game that has a lot of like replayability, obviously, with the different paths, different choices you can make. I know some of it is talking about like, some of the negativity of it is like, it was a little bit too on the nose with some things. But I feel like that also, like, to me, I'm like, yeah, but that's how you can say like, you can't say this is ridiculous, this would never happen or whatever. Like, yes, the whole AI thing, okay, we're getting to that point right now. But it's just like, we've seen it happen in history before, and it's not to say that history won't repeat itself, to say that like, oh, we won't make those same mistakes that we have in the past or use those same methods. I don't necessarily, like, unfortunately, you know, I wish that was the case, but I don't think that's always necessarily true. So while some people looked at that as a deterrent, I didn't necessarily think that. Like the different variants of characters in there as well. So just really, really loved that game, and looking forward to, you know, replaying it multiple times.
So 19 through 11.
Mm-hmm.
Coming in at 19 for me is Final Fantasy 16.
Ooh.
Loved the story with Clive and Torgal. It was our first
Torgal.
Of course, Torgal.
Yeah.
It was our first dive into Final Fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
And I will admit, you know, we had checked out some things that had Final Fantasy content.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I've heard about Final Fantasy, but I'd always been a bit intimidated because Final Fantasy was like this huge franchise, and it felt like you had to be like a real gamer to do Final Fantasy because it was so big and everyone talked about it. So I was always intimidated by it. But this game, as our first dive into Final Fantasy, was so accessible and the story was so immersive, and I love the characters so much. That is one that I think the replayability is high, even if you're not making a ton of different choices.
Mm-hmm.
There's still so much content in that game to explore that we didn't even get to, and I felt we did a lot of it, but there's still so much more. And that story, that's like when you have a good story, whether it's a good movie or a good book or a good video game, it's one that you like to go back and revisit.
Mm-hmm.
It just feels good to go back to it. And so that's one where I'm like, I feel like I would enjoy going back to Final Fantasy 16, like at any point.
Agreed.
18 for me, Detroit Become Human. So I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, that was our first choice-based game on the channel.
I think so. I mean, I don't know when we played the Quarry or Uncharted, or not. The game was on your top.
Wolf Among Us.
No,
Would have been later.
Until Dawn.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So I don't know if we played The Quarry or Until Dawn before we did Detroit Become Human or not, but I think that was our first choice-based game we played on the channel.
If it wasn't, it was our first like non-horror one. I think I always put like Until Dawn and The Quarry in like the horror section of my brain.
Yeah.
I love diving into this. It was kind of a new kind of format for gaming for me. It was fun to explore. I love any time that a story can be both enjoyable and entertaining, but also something that keeps you talking afterwards. And as Ken said, we had some great discussions after that. It's still something that I think about and like kind of go through in my brain at certain moments, especially with all of the development with AI and the talk about the future of robotics and stuff. Like I can't help but think about Detroit Become Human whenever that happens. And while Wolf Among Us did this as well, Detroit Become Human was the first where you could see how your choices stacked up to how other players had made decisions. And I just thought that was so cool. Like you go through a game and you think like, I wonder what other people are doing. But this was the first game that actually showed you other people are doing this for us.
I'll just say, to be fair, I don't know if Detroit Become Human came out before Wolf Among Us, but for us, we played Detroit Become Human first. So this is the first game for us to see that in there.
Yeah. But that's why I did mention that Wolf Among Us did it as well, just because I'm like, I don't want them to feel neglected. But
I know.
For us, our first was Detroit Become Human. Next up at number 17 is Mortal Kombat 1. Now I say 1, but it was really 11 because it was like the remake. And then, so Mortal Kombat is a significant part of our channel, as you all know. So there was no way that Mortal Kombat was not going to be on our list. And I thought about like, well, I could do just Mortal Kombat. And I'm like, and that would apply for sure. But Mortal Kombat 1, I think it was the first game in Mortal Kombat that really hooked me into the story and therefore the characters versus just like the arcade game and like, oh, well, this character does some really cool fatalities. Like, that's cool, but it's not like something that I'm really connected to. Whereas when we played through Mortal Kombat 1, I really became connected to the stories and like Sonya Blade and Johnny Cage and their romance and like, Liu Kang and like there were so many characters where I was like, oh, I'm really invested in these characters now, and like now I care about their story and like more so than just who lives or dies in like a matchup. So of course Mortal Kombat had to be on the list. Number 16, and this I'm just lumping in a whole franchise, Resident Evil.
Yeah.
The number of Resident Evil games we've played on the channel I think speaks to how successful the franchise is and how much we enjoy it. I mean, obviously, one that really sticks out in my brain is The Village.
Yeah,
just because that
Resident
one was
Evil 7 for sure.
so unique and different from some of the other ones, and it had a different kind of spooky element to it that I absolutely loved. I think we also played it around like, I want to say September or something, so like going into spooky season, which, oh God, love that. So yeah, we've played several Resident Evil games. It is a franchise that we keep going back to, that we will continue to keep going back to as much as they make games. So for that, plus being scary, Resident Evil. Number 15 for me is South Park. I specifically listed Stick of Truth because that was the standout to me, but Fractured Butthole, I could have put them both in there together, sharing the 15 spot for all the reasons that Ken said. Love the humor. We enjoy South Park. So obviously like a South Park game incorporating that humor and that goofiness and silliness was right up our alley. It was also the first kind of game that we played that was the, what's the word I'm looking for?
Turn-based?
Thank you. Turn-based games.
Yeah.
And I will admit, I wasn't sure that I was going to like a turn-based game because I'm like, doesn't it kind of disrupt the action? Like, you have to stop and wait for your turn, and then you have to pick what to do. And like, you know, coming off of something very button smash friendly like a Mortal Kombat or whatnot, a turn-based game feels like, what? This is so disjointed and whatnot. Actually wound up loving it. And it was so fun to see whether I was playing or Ken was playing. It was really fun to watch like how we picked what we were gonna do and what our different abilities were. So for all the silly fun that it was, that's why South Park has come in at number 15. 14, Batman Arkham games.
Ooh.
And I'm actually going to rapidly list my next 4 because you're going to see a sort of common theme among them. So Batman Arkham games at 14, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order at 13,
Nice.
Spider-Man at 12, and Indiana Jones at 11. And this is sort of my like falling into a movie section of my favorite list.
It's fair.
Which is, here's the thing, if you are messing with beloved characters like Indiana Jones and Spider-Man, or beloved franchises, Batman and the whole Gotham world and Star Wars, you better get it right. And these got it right. And so I really felt like I have taken a dive into a story. I get to be Indiana Jones. Like, I couldn't geek out more over that. That's so cool. I keep talking to him like, oh, we gotta play the DLC because I'm dying to play it.
It's true.
So all of those take up the next 4 spots because I love falling into movies, and this made it possible.
All right. Number 10 for me is Elder Scrolls. I put Skyrim and Oblivion in this together combined. I couldn't tell you which one I necessarily liked better. You know, I just remember Oblivion obviously I played first and really enjoyed that, and then so went into Skyrim. And these are like one of those epic games where you just spend hours and hours and hours playing and getting into it, and like, you know, going into like the different factions, whether it might be like, you know, an assassin or whatnot. It was a game that that just really enjoyed. I haven't necessarily gone back to play them, the replayability of it all. Like, and I didn't get as far into it as like, you know, like the online play, and was you can really like get into Skyrim as well. I haven't done that at all, but I still really enjoyed just like playing through the story itself. And like, I was sad when it ended, when the main story ended, and like that's for me. And like, yeah, I was gonna say at the time, and pretty much kind of like now, like when the main story ends, I'm kind of like, you know, it's like, okay, like, you know, I know you can go back to the games and like there's more to play and explore, but like for me, it's kind of like, okay, the story's over. I want to go on to the next game. Number 9, Final Fantasy 16. For everything that you mentioned, the story, the characters, I just like that the gameplay was so accessible. It was accessible if you wanted to button smash. It was accessible if you wanted to do more than that. If you wanted like to have like a little bit more like strategy behind your attacks, you could still do that. They like specifically made it so that you could have like story mode focus. Like if you just want to like play through the story and not have to worry too much about like, you know, really struggling, then you can do that. Like there was only one time where we like just epically struggled, and that was the Rising Tide DLC, and like, oh my god, so frustrating during that. And like I'm like, hey, we're on freaking easy mode, what is this bullshit? Like if I want a challenge, I'd put it on hard mode. So yeah, but like I really love that game, and I know like how much I love a game because like I just like the amount of side quests that like we went into it as well, and going into like the DLCs and like just really diving in deep into that game, and not even like covering it all, but so yeah, definitely makes my top 10. Number 8 is Stick of Truth, South Park. I just thought like for me, the game mechanics in Stick of Truth, I liked more than in The Fractured But Whole. I also kind of like the story a little bit better. That one actually felt more like playing through a South Park episode, whereas The Fractured But Whole, well, at times it did feel like playing through a South Park episode. It did feel more like a South Park game itself. You know, I've been saying it is a South Park game. That's totally fine with it. You know, they're just have not laughed, I think, harder at a game than when we played the South Park games, and just hilarious, and really love those games. Number 8 for me is Split Fiction. Yeah, it's another game we played this year, and just hadn't played a game like that really. We played couch co-op games, but that, you know, we say this a lot, but obviously like the story and the characters, that's what drives us in a game. But then the gameplay itself and like the teamwork that we had to do in talking through the game as we were playing it. I'm surprised it wasn't even nominated for more awards than I feel like it should have been at the Game Awards. And so I'm looking forward to playing It Takes Two, you know, its predecessor. But yeah, that just Split Fiction to me, it just blew me away. There's so many times when we were playing, I'm just like, I was so impressed and like had never experienced something like that before. And especially like the end, like when they had changed so many different like modes in the end that they were flipping around. Oh God, it was awesome. Number 7 is Spider-Man. Put 1 and 2 here, but I mainly am focusing on Spider-Man 1. It was a game where like I didn't 100% it, but I got pretty darn close, doing a lot of the did like all the side missions that you could do in the game. Like I didn't do necessarily like all like the trophies that you're going for in the game, but like they nailed the tone of my favorite character, probably in all of you know, media, you know, all of fiction is Spider-Man. So really, like, you know, lot to live up to, and it delivered. And you know, the end of that game had us in tears, and just the gameplay mechanics of it were a lot of fun. And yeah, so I mean, they just did a great job with a very beloved character. Sorry, I didn't number mine. I probably should have numbered it. I just kind of listed it as in 1 through 10. So yeah, so now we're in the top 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. So top 5. Coming in at number 5, Mass Effect. To have 3 games that like are like interconnected, like Mass Effect is. I'm not, you know, we're finishing up our actually playthrough of Mass Effect 3. But this is definitely gonna be a game that I'm going to be revisiting and playing with different choices. And just like so many great characters in this, and then Mass Effect 2, I think on its own probably would be in my top 10, just because that game, I thought they made so many great improvements for it and got rid of so many like the unnecessary grindy aspects of Mass Effect 1. And yeah, and just like, I loved the story in Mass Effect 2 and like being able to like really like dive into like characters. Like it felt like Mass Effect 1 and Mass Effect 3 like maybe like continue like the story kind of continues from Mass Effect 1 into Mass Effect 3, and you could probably skip the main like plot or whatever of Mass Effect 2, but like for me, Mass Effect 2 is more about like the people and the characters and like caring about the universe and itself, right? And like that's what you're saving. You were saving not just, you know, humanity, like you're saving the whole galaxy and you know, all the different races. And it's kind of like showing you all those different aspects, and it's kind of showing you that the mission itself of like saving the world, yes, like that is very important, but like the why are you doing that? You're doing that because of life. And you know, yeah, I just really loved Mass Effect so far, and so it makes the top 5. Number 4, another game we played this year, Clair Obscur.
Yeah.
Turn-based game again. They put a different spin on it. It's making it more like giving them like a little more action, like in the turn-based game for like, you know, the parrying and the dodging, but still having like, you know, those aspects of turn-based games that I really enjoy. And then the story was so original. When we first saw the trailer, you can go back and check out our reaction for it. We were saying that like, I don't know if the game itself was gonna be good, but like we're like, that story is so freaking original and it's so like just hooked us right away. Then like, if the game sucks, then we'll just watch the cutscenes, because that story, I have to know what that story is like. And The story did not disappoint. The gameplay was even better than I could have expected. Like the humor in it, the heart in it. Won Game of the Year and won like I think more awards than any game has ever at the Game Awards. And it's all very well deserved. The music was on point. Acting in it was great. So yeah, I mean, Clair Obscura was phenomenal. And there's a lot. Actually, we still need to play in Clair Obscura. We only kind of again played like the main story. There's some side missions that we need to get to play. Haven't gotten back to that yet. Hopefully, we might get to it on a live stream. But yeah, Clair Obscura.
Did they do a DLC for it too?
They didn't do a DLC. They did like a welcome, a thank you update.
Oh, right.
Where it's like there's like more characters you can play like against,
like
Candyland things. So that's another thing we gotta play. Number 3 for me. So my top 3 games are games that we have not played on the channel, and these are games that like have just maybe it's nostalgia bias. It's just games that I've played so many different times. The replayability on these games, I played them, I don't know, like probably like a dozen times each for different times. Sometimes just for myself, sometimes with Bethany as well. Number 3 for that is Marvel Ultimate Alliance. The first one specifically, I just liked the different costumes and how the different costumes you had changed the different abilities. I liked that you could go through it and then your choices actually did have consequences. So like if you didn't pick up like the ultimate nullifier, then like, that was a bad choice. Then Mephisto was going to come over and like, take over the world. So I like that helped with the replayability of it all and like picking the different teams. And like if you pick someone on your team that like knows the villain that you're going up against, and like the dialogue will change doing that. So I really enjoyed that aspect of it. I like the different like combinations you do, like, whether you're sweeping it, whether you're knocking them up. And the different abilities with like Invisible Woman and, like levitating people and throwing them off like, the elevators and everything. There's just so much I love about that game. So over and over again, the simulator discs. So yeah, I could go on and on. Number 2 for me is Dragon Age Origins. I think I played this game like over and over and over again for like a month straight. Like I beat it and I played it again. And I played like in different paths, chose different characters, different races. And it was another one where I just kept like, I haven't even played all the DLCs for it. Like I just played the base game over and over and over again. And I just had so much fun with the game mechanics and the story itself and the different paths you could, different characters you could choose and take, different origin stories. I mean, you could choose and take. So yeah, Dragon Age Origins, like no surprise that I would like Mass Effect as well. Surprised that I didn't actually get into Mass Effect right after playing Dragon Age Origins. And number 1 for me is Kingdom Hearts. This game surprised me. I remember my buddy playing it and being like, why are you playing this game? Like, okay, like a bunch of Disney characters, dude, come on. And he's like, no, you got to play this game. This game is really good. So I got hooked and I played it a bunch of different times. I will be playing it again, all the different, like, finding the puppies and finding the different like trinities and going through like the Coliseum and playing all the different characters through there. And like, I'm not even like a big Disney person. So the nostalgia was still there for me playing through like, Peter Pan and Night Before Christmas and Little Mermaid and everything. Like I didn't necessarily love these franchises going into this game, but just still playing through it. Like there's something just special about it. And just, I don't know. I also really enjoyed the story. Like I kind of lost the story of it because I only played the numbered games. So if you don't play the game in between, you kind of get lost a little bit, a lot, and it can seem convoluted. So at some point, I feel like I got to play through the whole Kingdom Hearts franchise, and that'll just be another excuse for me to play my favorite game, Kingdom Hearts.
Nice. All right. Number 10 for me, The Last of Us. I know, for all that you said with the controversy and the vitriol, to me was really unfortunate that people can't express a divergence of opinion without getting bloodthirsty at each other. But I really loved the fact that this was such a controversial game. And I love that it did make people have such strong opinions, because if it sucked, it couldn't do that. You can't make people so angry and upset or crying over the death of a character if that character wasn't loved in the first place. People don't care about the character, then they don't care if the character dies. So I loved the game itself, like a horror game again, a zombie game, the shooting, whether you're like sniping people from the second story of a house or like shooting people from like the back of a moving Jeep. There was so much to that, and so many different kinds of zombies that you had to hide from, or infected, I should say. But I liked the story. I love the characters. I like the controversy. And I like the fact that it really makes you question your opinions on characters or your perception of right and wrong, or like, how black and white is the world really. And so for all of that in the discussions, The Last of Us made it into my top 10. I'm including 1 and 2 in that because to what Ken said, they kind of have to go together. Number 9, God of War Ragnarok. I said Ragnarok, but I'm really thinking of like the whole Norse pantheon.
So foreign Ragnarok,
element. And that was just because, you know, the God of War with the Greek pantheon would be right up my alley, but I got into it later. Mm-hmm. And so the discovery of God of War 4 and Ragnarok with you was just so much fun. And the evolution of Kratos too was it was so exciting to see that. You know, he wasn't just angry, but like there was a wisdom to him now that just made everything he did more interesting in my opinion. Also Freya, I just have to say. I mean, like, and wolf puppies. So come on. Number 8, Clair Obscur. For all the reasons you said, and I'm also just going to add to what you already mentioned, the fact that game was just beautiful.
Yeah, it really was.
Absolutely beautiful. Every world that you entered into that game was gorgeous. The costumes on the characters were gorgeous. Like they put so much into the visual element there, but without neglecting the story or the gameplay mechanics. And for all the reasons that have been said, obviously it won a ton of awards. So our opinion is not unique. This was a great game. Number 7 is Split Fiction.
I thought that would be higher.
And I think for me, Split Fiction was higher than Clair Obscur because it just appealed to the super dork in me. You had sci-fi and you had fantasy. Yeah. You had 2 female protagonists that were interesting and unique in their own ways, that were completely different. And so really fun to kind of like, I mean, Ken and I, we were talking one time. I can't remember if this was still when we were on camera, if this was in between filming, but about like the different personality elements of both characters that we kind of like connected with or enjoyed. And so to create a game that has those elements, but also the teamwork element, and like you really have to like the person you're playing with because it could easily get frustrating.
Yep.
And so like I think the other part of it that I'm gonna be kind of egotistical about is I'm giving myself and you a pat on the back. So I'm like, we worked really well together. We did that game.
We did.
Number 6, Astrobot.
Ooh.
This is a game that, like Ken said, we could go back to over and over again, intend to go back to. I was a little bummed that we didn't get back to the Halloween levels this year on Halloween time, but things just got really busy for us. But that's one where I'm like, it's been a while since we played it, and I still at Halloween was thinking like, oh, we should go back to the scary levels in Astrobot because that's really fun. So yeah, Astrobot, it's adorable. I'm thinking of the Astrobot song in my head right now as I'm talking about it. Yeah. I mean, he's so cute. So yeah, Astrobot, because that's just one that you don't have to be like playing through a long story. You can just pick that game up and jump into a world and have some fun. All right, my top 5. Coming in at number 5, Dark Pictures Anthology. And I'm putting all of those as a combined experience because we played them back to back. And then we immediately went in and replayed a couple of them again.
We did.
So replayability was high to make the choices. Also, it felt like playing through a horror movie. Different kinds of horror movies, but it was horror movies, and I love that. The characters were fun. The choice-based element was fun. I successfully got the spooky vibes while playing them. So to me, I'm like, it hit exactly the right tone. It gave me exactly the right feels. We played it around Halloween, so of course, like, you know, the spooky ones that we play around Halloween, they do better on my list. Yeah. So yeah, Dark Pictures Anthology was just fantastic for me. And I think Until Dawn did it well. Dark Pictures Anthology, all those games together, like to me, that's just like, that is something I would love to go back and do every Halloween just to get into that vibe. Number 4, Assassin's Creed. And I'm just putting this as the franchise. There are still Assassin's Creed games that I'm dying to play that we haven't gotten to yet, but all the ones that we've played, it appeals to, again, the dork in me that loves history, that loves falling into good stories. Plus, you know, sword fighting, like, you know, you get to be a pirate in one. I mean, come on, what's not to love? Number 3, this is kind of going along the same lines, Uncharted, the whole franchise. You know, I think you said 4, and that probably would come out to be the best in terms of like the overall franchise and how much we loved it. But Lost Legacy, like they even went further and they actually did an Uncharted where Nathan Drake wasn't the main character, and I still felt that was successful. So if you can do a game and you can change out the main character and still have me love it because you have still given me all the action and all the adventure and everything about Uncharted that I love, you're successful. Again, you're probably gonna sense a theme. Coming in at number 2 for me is Tomb Raider.
Ooh, I thought that would be number 1.
Close. The whole franchise. This was a game that like, until I saw Tomb Raider, like my knowledge of female characters in video games was basically like Princess Peach or Princess Zelda. I'm like, oh, it's the princesses and their damsels in distress, and that's what women are in video games. So when
Should have played Metroid.
Should've. When I like came in contact with Tomb Raider, I was like, whoa, blew my mind. I'm like, here's a kick-ass female who's exploring historical ruins and finding buried treasure and kicking ass. Like, this is amazing. So for me, Tomb Raider I'm listing a whole franchise because it is a franchise that I will always go back to. Anytime they turn out a new game or even a remake, I'm probably guaranteed to play it. This was the next evolution in my gaming life, from like being really young kid playing Mario to like, ooh, playing a more serious video game and like falling into a fully fleshed out kind of movie narrative kind of story experience. Speaking of Mario, my number one. I put the Mario franchise because this is gonna lump in a lot of Mario, but it felt unfair for me to give like individual Mario games so many spots on my list. I'm like, there are so many games we played that I really enjoy that to give so many spots to Mario because it is like essentially my childhood, it doesn't really feel balanced. So I'm saying Mario is a franchise, and what I mean by that is Super Mario, Mario 64, and Mario Kart. These are the 3 games that in my life I have played over and over again. I continue to go back to. It is my nostalgia. It is like revisiting my childhood, but they're also just really fun. And they're fun in a way that like, they're not heavy fun. They're light fun, but they still challenge you. And what I mean by heavy versus fun is like The Last of Us is a fun game, but that's heavy. That is heavy subject matter. It's a heavy story. So like you go into it, but you kind of have to like, I don't know, prepare yourself emotionally to go into the heavy world that is The Last of Us. Whereas Mario, it's light and you can just go in and you can like jump on some mushrooms and it'll be good times. So for Mass Effect, I didn't put it into my list yet because in part we haven't completed the story, and I'm like, however the story ends, because I would have considered it all one big thing. I'm like, however it ends, a bad ending can break the love of a franchise and like a good ending can make it. So as it is right now, it definitely belongs in my top 25, but because it was incomplete, I was like, I feel like I'm gonna hold off this year, knowing full well it's probably gonna make it in next year. But I'm like, I need to know how this all wraps up and how it ends, you know, especially because we recently made a decision that cost us quite a bit and that was kind of rough on us. So I don't know that that's been released yet, which is why I'm not saying anything specific about it. But I did feel like despite not putting it in there, it did deserve a special mention on my list.
Okay. All right. So those are our top 25 games. A lot of games we played for this year made it into our top 25.
Yeah.
I think like maybe 6 overall for me. I think there's like well over half of games we play on the channel have been in my top 25. So looking forward to what next year brings. Red Dead Redemption 2, we know, is for sure coming, along with Dispatch. And Happy New Year's, everybody.
Happy New Year's. I'm going to say a special thank you to all of you because so many of the games that made it into our list are suggestions from you all. So
It's true.
thank you. Thank you for giving us those experiences. They were a ton of fun for us and we're looking forward to more.
Cheers.
Cheers.